Beneath the ocean's surface, far below the last traces of sunlight, lives a league of predators unlike anything we've ever known. Sharks engineered by evolution to survive crushing pressure, eternal darkness, and monsters that never sleep. With jaws that can shatter bone in a single strike, eyes built for the abyss, and bodies adapted to a world colder, darker, and more violent than ours. These are not the sharks you think you know. They are the ghosts of the deep, the true rulers of the ocean's darkest depths. The ocean is a world that hides more mysteries than the land ever could. Beneath its shimmering surface lies an expanse so vast, so ancient, and so untouched by the passing of time that even today, much of it remains unknown. And within this immense darkness lives a creature that has witnessed the rise and fall of entire continents, a survivor of extinction events that erased most life on Earth, a predator older than the dinosaurs, older than forests, older than flowering plants. That creature is the shark. For over 400 million years, sharks have patrolled the oceans, adapting through eras of climate change, geological upheaval, and evolutionary chaos. They are often portrayed as ruthless hunters, the monsters of the deep. But behind that image lies a delicate truth. Sharks survive not because they are violent, but because they possess one of the most remarkable reproductive systems in the natural world. Unlike fish that scatter millions of eggs into the water and leave everything to chance, sharks have evolved a completely different approach. One that is slow, careful, and deeply strategic. One that focuses not on quantity, but on quality. One that reflects a sophisticated evolutionary blueprint refined over hundreds of millions of years. This is the story of how sharks create life, a journey that begins with hidden mating rituals and ends with newborn pups entering the world already equipped to survive. A journey that reveals the fragile but extraordinary biology behind Earth's oldest predators. The hidden world of shark courtship. The first chapter of shark reproduction begins in secrecy. While fish commonly reproduce through external fertilization, releasing eggs and sperm into the water, sharks take a more intimate path. They mate through internal fertilization, a method far more complex and advanced, and one that requires the male to physically transfer sperm to the female using specialized organs called claspers. But witnessing this process is almost impossible. Sharks typically mate in remote, inaccessible regions, deep waters, far from human presence, seasonal breeding grounds hidden across the world, or under conditions that only exist for a brief moment each year. And when mating does occur, it is often rough. Because sharks lack limbs, the male must grasp the female using his jaws, leading to what scientists call mating scars. These are not injuries of aggression, but marks of a biological necessity, evidence of a ritual that has persisted for millions of years. What makes this phase exceptionally fascinating is that scientists still do not fully understand how many shark species even find each other in the vast expanse of the ocean, nor how they choose mates, nor how they coordinate timing. It is one of the most elusive aspects of shark biology. Yet once mating is complete, the real marvel begins. 3 evolutionary roads to new life. If one were to observe the reptile world, the mammal world, or the amphibian world, one would find limited reproductive strategies within each group. But sharks stand apart. They possess 3 entirely different reproductive methods, each suited to their environment and evolutionary history. This diversity makes sharks one of the most adaptable vertebrate groups ever to evolve. Hynem 1. Oviparity, the ancient way of laying eggs. Some shark species, such as cat sharks and horn sharks, lay leathery, protective egg capsules. These eggs, known as mermaid's purses, are anchored to rocks or coral with natural tendrils so they won't drift away. Inside the dark chambers of these capsules, the shark embryo slowly develops. Its only source of nourishment is the yolk sac. The mother, after securing her eggs, has no further involvement. Everything from growth to survival depends on the environment and luck. It is a strategy that dates back to the earliest sharks, preserved nearly unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. 2. Ovoviviparity. When life begins inside the mother. A more advanced method involves sharks that retain eggs internally. The eggs hatch inside the mother's body, and she gives birth to live pups. The embryos do not receive nutrients from the mother, but instead develop entirely from the yolk contained in their eggs. But this system contains one of nature's most dramatic phenomena. In species like the sand tiger shark and mako shark, embryos engage in intrauterine cannibalism. Inside the mother's womb, the largest and strongest embryo consumes both unfertilized eggs and its smaller siblings. Brutal though it may be, this strategy ensures that the surviving pup is large, strong, and highly capable of surviving immediately at birth. This is natural selection occurring before the animal has even entered the world. 3. Viviparity, the mammal-like strategy. Perhaps the most astonishing reproductive method among sharks is viviparity, where the mother gives birth to pups developed through a placental connection. This means the embryo receives oxygen, nourishment, and protection directly from the mother, just as mammals do. Bull sharks, hammerheads, and some reef sharks adopt this system. Their embryos are nurtured with remarkable efficiency, resulting in strong, healthy pups that enter the world at an advantage. This method demonstrates the evolutionary flexibility of sharks. That a fish lineage could independently develop a system so similar to mammalian pregnancy is one of the great curiosities of marine biology. A pregnancy longer than many mammals. A common theme among sharks is that their pregnancies last an extraordinarily long time. Some of the longest known gestation periods in the animal kingdom belong to sharks. The spiny dogfish shark is pregnant for 22 to 24 months. Some deep-sea sharks may carry their young for up to 3 years. Great white sharks typically gestate for 1 year. This lengthy period allows pups to develop fully, achieving a size and level of strength that dramatically increases their chance of survival. But this investment comes with a cost. It limits how often sharks can reproduce. Many species take years to reach sexual maturity, and then years more to produce a single litter. Their survival strategy is a slow, thoughtful balancing act between risk and reward, one that worked perfectly for millions of years, until humans entered the equation. Few young, but born ready to survive. Unlike fish larvae that drift helplessly with the currents, shark pups are born as miniature versions of adults. They can swim immediately. They can hunt immediately. They can avoid predators. There is no parental care, no teaching, no protection. The moment they enter the water, they must survive entirely on their own. This explains why sharks produce so few offspring. They aren't designed to flood the ecosystem with vulnerable juveniles. They are designed to produce a small number of highly capable predators, each one genetically equipped to thrive. To help their offspring survive, female sharks often choose nursery grounds, shallow, warmer waters with fewer threats. These habitats serve as temporary sanctuaries for baby sharks, allowing them to grow before entering the open ocean. But even these sanctuaries are now endangered due to coastal development, pollution, and climate change. The paradox of the ocean's apex predator. Despite their fearsome image, sharks are among the most vulnerable creatures in the sea. Their reproductive strategy, though brilliant in stable ecosystems, makes them extremely susceptible to population collapse because sharks, mature slowly, reproduce infrequently, give birth to few pups, and carry young for long periods. God. They cannot recover from overfishing or habitat destruction the way other fish can. Removing just a handful of mature females from a population can lead to drastic declines. Entire ecosystems then fall out of balance, as sharks play a crucial role in maintaining healthy oceans. Today, more than 30% of shark species are listed as threatened or endangered. The tragedy is that the very reproductive strategy that made sharks so successful for hundreds of millions of years is the same strategy that now places them at risk, a legacy of survival and a challenge for the future. The reproductive cycle of sharks is not just a biological process. It is a story about the endurance of life across unimaginable time. A story about evolution shaping creatures capable of surviving mass extinctions, shifting oceans, and global transformations. Sharks have thrived because they are adaptable, intelligent, and biologically innovative. Their reproductive strategies, whether laying eggs, hatching internally, or forming mammal-like placentas, show an incredible range of evolutionary experimentation. But the question is no longer how sharks survived the past. The question is whether they can survive us. Human activity has disrupted the oceans at a pace far faster than sharks can adapt. And yet, understanding their reproductive systems allows us to see just how precious and fragile these ancient creatures truly are. If we wish sharks to continue their 400 million year legacy, we must protect the environments where they mate, carry their young, and give birth. We must safeguard nursery grounds and regulate fishing practices. And above all, we must recognize that every shark born represents a slow, deliberate investment from nature, a single chapter in an evolutionary story older than humanity itself. Sharks have seen the world change in ways we can't imagine. Whether they will continue to be part of Earth's future now depends on us.